So we have to just now think about what we can do to get there. Yes, Alan?
Yeah, a couple of things I want to mention. I think one of the challenges we have to deal with is a disentanglement of the environmental movement as, within its culture wars, a liberal leftist, and therefore the conservatives are going to, fight against it no matter what we say, because it's entrenched in the culture wars. We got to disentangle. And I think there's ways through disentanglement so that we can see this as a issue that is important for all people of all political spectrums. One of them involves full cost accounting or honest cost accounting. The negative externalities are inexcusable. And Lisa, you talked about that within our own personal selves, but it's also within whether it's mining, extraction, using carbon. I think a carbon tax will probably be a problem, but a dividend back to the people, a fee system is I think it's a good strategy to really work toward, because that is, otherwise it goes to the black hole of the government, and they're going to say, well, that makes government bigger if it's a tax. But if it goes back to the people,
Yep.
then we're going to, so there's some good strategies to do that, but we've got to disentangle from the culture wars as much as we can. And then I think honest cost accounting.
So how do we do that?
Okay.
How do we, sorry, go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is in the messaging. It's great to say that there has to be a lobby group that does something, but a lobby is built on the people who are interested in having that lobby work for them, right? So it's not enough
Money,
to
right.
just say that we there's this group of 10 people or whatever wants to create a lobby. We don't have the resources to really have a powerful lobby unless it's clear that there are people behind it. And I think part of this goes to modeling what the problem actually is in terms of the environmental problems we're talking about. And if we talk about this as just something that's affecting us as individuals, that's not scientifically accurate that it's affecting everybody in the same way. And if we talk about climate or biodiversity or any of these other concerns as issues where the costs and benefits of action accrue to everybody in the world, that is true, but it's more true to say that there are differential costs and benefits where different people are benefiting more from the action that's taken, and it costs different people more to take those actions. And if we think about it in that context, then it's really a justice issue more than it is something that affects each of us individually. And I think that's part of the messaging, and that's, for me, as somebody who's not a faith leader in any sense, that's where a faith community has a really important role to play in terms of talking about justice. That this isn't just an issue of a relationship between people and nature. It's also a question of the relationship or the effects on people in different ways.
Yeah, Fred.
Okay. Yeah, in the history of mass movements, there's always three parts. The message is the beginning part. We can look at, for instance, Mohandas Gandhi and the Satyagraha movement. He said there has to be the message, but then following the message, there has to be a model so that people can see in action what that looks like. And then he says there has to be the messengers, so that for a comprehensive strategy, it's message, model, and the messengers have to have a commitment. It's not enough to say, yeah, that looks okay. There has to be a commitment to God to fulfill certain requirements. And so what Gandhi did, and he was following the earlier Christian model, he said that there had to be a commitment to truth relentlessly. So there was Satyagraha, that there had to be a renunciation of all those entanglements which institutionalized the problem of India, which he identified as a darkness in the Indian spirit. So he called that brahmacharya. And then there had to be a harmlessness, and I think that was ahimsa. And so by combining this with the commitment, with a vow to however you understand the highest truth, and committing our lives both to that and to a promulgation of the message, that there was a tool that was created that could move all of the Indian subcontinent. And at the same time, he said the problem was not the British. The problem was not just the industrialists, it's not the politicians, it's not the economists or the bankers, it's us. So there had to be that changing of oneself in order to affect the larger change, because the secret is you replicate who you are more than what you say. And so the talk is cheap, but your example is what transmits. And so we have to understand how to teach about climate change. And that if we replicate what we are more than what we say, then we have to start polishing our example so that it's consistent with what we say. But the key is the commitment. The key is a vow to God to fulfill a particular purpose.